8:40 right now on WCNC Plus. Now more of my sit down with Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles. A big part of our conversation was about safety on the light rail after two high-profile stabbings in just the last few months. She says the city is ready to do everything possible to ensure safety. Nothing's off the table. Here's part of that conversation. Let's talk about violence on the light rail. It's come up again in the last few days. After the death of Irina Zarutska, the city promised more patrols, more security guards. Are we clear yet? Were there extra security guards on the train on Friday night when the most recent stabbing happened?
I do not know the answer to that. That's something that we're looking at. And I think that, again, this is kind of like when you talk about the mayor's role and what I do, this is really in the care of our justice people. I mean, you know, we're Spencer Merriweather, our district attorney, our police officers are looking at this. And I want to say this at the beginning. When we had the most recent initiative or issue, the CMPD were right there and they moved in quickly. There was an arrest quickly. This person is now in the jail. And so I think as long as we continue to do this, we're going to have to think about it differently. But I think that CMPD and everyone that's associated with CATS wants it to be the very best, because the whole idea of us having the ability to have the authority to build out a transit system, it means that we have to figure out how to build a transit system that everyone would want to use, because it's a safe one.
Do you feel like the security on the light rail is currently sufficient?
You know, that's a very tough question to ask. And I say that because, you know, it can go smoothly for a very long time, but when there's one bad apple, you don't know that. And so we will continue to thrive for every possible initiative. So we're beginning already among our population to start thinking about, well, what are the designs? I'm really big on this idea for especially uptown as well as the rail system, is that we have to figure out how to create barriers for people that shouldn't be on it. And when we built the first rail line, it was just get up on it and just get on and ride. But now I don't think that that's an acceptable level of safety for our community. And that includes, you know, even uptown in our parking decks. You know, we built beautiful parking decks and people came in to and from work, but they don't feel safe right now. And so what do we have to do? And I'm really high on the idea of let's use all of the tools that we can have, that we can actually have architectural decisions made that might be a bit different. How do we create opportunities for people to build, but to build safety? I don't think many of us thought about, you build a house and, you know, you just had a house.
It sounds like to me you're talking about sort of the difference between, I think, what they call open and closed platforms. In places like New York City or Washington, D.C., you have to go through a turnstile. You have to pay just to get on the platform. Here, it's a much more open system. People can come and go. And is that what you're talking about? We need to revisit?
Exactly. We need to revisit. If we're going to build new transit lines, and we are going to build one because we've committed that to the northern towns, we're going to have to build one that is already planned as a safe space to be.
Would that include retrofitting blue line stations too?
I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we really are diving deeply into that conversation, and there will be some kind of assessment there.
The local GOP said that there should be closed platforms, but also that there should be a security guard on every train. Do you see that as feasible?
I think anything that we would do to make people feel safe, we're going to have to do it. And so I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that there will be an answer to that soon.
Oscar Solorzano, the suspect in Friday's case, had been banned from the light rail just a few months ago. Mm-hmm. Is your understanding there's just not enforcement of that happening right now, or you're not sure?
I think that in most of the situation, it's where perhaps more people that are doing this understand more about how to do it than we understand how they do it. And so that's where I think that we are going to have, again, differences that we have to make, and we need to do it quickly so that when someone that thinks that they've got a plan, that plan is not going to work for him.
The president tweeted the other day, another stabbing by an illegal migrant in Charlotte. What's going on in Charlotte? Democrats are destroying it like everything else, piece by piece. Your reaction? My
reaction is that I think the president has the opportunity to tweet about anything that's done. But for me, my reaction is, what do we do for this city? What do we do immediately for this city? I mean, you probably know our council is looking very hard at what we would do. And so I want to fulfill the idea of safety as a #1 initiative this year.
We talked about it briefly, but I just want to go back to Arena's law, enacted in the last few days, cracks down on suspects in violent crime. So far, in your view, has it been a net positive?
Well, it certainly was a net positive for the person that did what we had in the last few weeks or days. And it has worked in that respect. I hope that we'll not have to do that kind of work, but I think that we very much have to look at people for both criminal, how they live their lives, do they have opportunities, but we all know that mental health is an issue for a number of people in our city. I think that we will continue to think, how do we do this? But we're going to have to put more emphasis on, you must stop right now.
At the time, after her death, you said it was a tragic failure by the court and the magistrates. What's the remedy for that?
Well, the remedy, I think, has come a lot of this with the Arena law saying that we now will have people on the trains. We've moved quickly to do that. I believe that in this situation, even the one that we're dealing with right now, we're going to press really hard on safety with our Justice Department, with our, I don't know if you're aware, we're right now having an initiative with multiple agencies that are safety agencies so that people can go uptown, have a great time, go to see the Nutcracker and all of those things. And we're doing that because we've strengthened the process of other people joining us in this initiative to make sure that everybody feels safe and makes it possible for us to do this new work.
The mayor hasn't done a lot of interviews this year.
Right.
And I will say for someone who's been a relatively popular mayor by almost every standard, I mean, won 80% of the vote one year, it has been her toughest year, and she says that.
Right.
The criticism she faced, I don't think necessarily just locally. I think she understands that and welcomes that. I think the national attention that came after Arena's death on the light rail and some of the online attention, for lack of a better term. She goes into detail later in the interview about the threats she's received and the protection she needs from CMPD. It's certainly different than the sort of scrutiny she's faced in the past.
And I think you have to appreciate her perspective in acknowledging that there is no easy fix, right? Yep. A lot of things have happened. And as you mentioned, when you add that national attention to it, it only, makes it a bigger issue and people see it.
And one other thing I want to add, because we don't talk about it enough because it's boring, but it's important. And she brought it up in the conversation, is that the form of government that Charlotte has and has had forever is called a council manager form of government. What that means is that a city manager, Marcus Jones, runs the city's day-to-day operations. He is the one with executive powers. Council then votes on some of those powers. The mayor's job, not to diminish it in any way, but the mayor's job is to run city council meetings.
Correct.
And be sort of a goodwill ambassador. So she said she thinks a lot of this has been a misunderstanding about what her powers are or lack thereof, and what she can actually do as a mayor. Because people move here from other cities and they think, oh, mayor's in charge, mayor makes all the decisions.
It's the manager.
That's just not the case here in the city of Charlotte. So.
And really the mayor, when there's a tie among council, that's when she gets to exercise a vote.
And
but otherwise,
yeah,
that's really it.
That's right. All right, we're back after this here on WCNC Plus.